How core is technology to a building material and roofing, in this case, distributor? They're doing nearly a $500 million acquisition out of the gate, which might be the right deal on paper. But honestly, the work is now just beginning. Our platform allows our clients to use one product catalog for all selling channels, resulting in time and money savings. I think that's the real unlock here with this deal. Really interesting news happened just in the past week. You had a company called Builders FirstSource acquire a tech company. Builders FirstSource does a lot of M&A, but they buy companies that look like themselves, which are other building material distributors. And so they use M&A as a mechanism to expand. What they bought was a company called Paradigm. And Paradigm has about 450 million reasons to say yes to this Builders FirstSource acquisition. Builders is actually a public company. Their sales have been on fire. Right? If you look at their recent quarterly earnings here, about 1.8 billion in revenue in the same period in 2020. Now they did over 4.1 billion in the same period in 2021, right? We all know, we've talked about asset price inflation, and we've talked about the home sale market just going through the roof. So Builders FirstSource is benefiting from that in a pretty positive manner. And so they're coming out of the gate swinging. This is actually their first tech acquisition. Pretty interesting, because this is not, even though they're doing over $4 billion in revenue on a quarterly basis here, $450 million is not a small acquisition. The company is doing about $50 million in revenue. So $50 million in revenue, $450 million valuation, that's a 9x revenue multiple. When they filed for a PPP loan, they cited 189 jobs. And they got about a $3 million PPP loan. This isn't a classical tech company in the sense that they've raised a lot of VC money over the years. And there's actually really no history of them raising outside capital. Not to say that they didn't raise outside capital, but I mean, raising outside capital from institutional investors. It's just a very interesting combination when you look at Builders FirstSource making their first tech acquisition or really tech investment ever. They're not dipping their toe into the water here, right? They're going all in, about almost a $500 million acquisition as their way of getting into tech M&A. So a couple press releases here on this to explain why they did this. Well, I'll give you the reported reason why and then my interpretation of it. So from Paradigm, they say this transaction accelerates opportunities in the digital category and advances Builder FirstSource strategy to invest innovative digital solutions that help customers build more efficiently. Paradigm's tech will drive efficiencies and productivity in the building supply chain, and they're going to increase customer satisfaction, drive growth and operating efficiency for Builders FirstSource distribution business. Sounds fantastic. Well, you say, well, how do you do that, right? Basically, what is Paradigm? So if you go to Paradigm's site, software for the building industry. Paradigm software solutions help organizations throughout the supply chain to boost sales, reduce costs, and become more competitive. They basically have a bunch of these different solutions throughout the home construction process. They have drafting services and estimating services and ERP software and virtual home design software and all these different types of tools that can be used by a variety of different players throughout the home construction and building construction supply chain, from manufacturer down to the contractor and everyone in between, most particularly distributors, which is what Builders FirstSource is. When you look at Paradigm's history, not only have they not raised any VC money, but what's interesting is they actually did one transaction of their own. They bought a company called 360 Innovations back in 2017, developer of ERP software for the custom-made products industry. The company's software features a product configuration module, project simulator, lead generator, and an ERP solution helping industrialists better manage their business, optimize production, and increase productivity. So they were acquired in August of 2017 by Paradigm. That's the only known acquisition or deal that we've seen Paradigm do. Now, I thought this part was interesting. Companies across the home building industry have been consistently focusing on investing in modern technologies to enhance the customer experience. The progress of the digital era will boost efficiencies in complex home building projects. According to the company, an average residential construction project involves more than 60 material suppliers, 100 subcontractors, and many other service providers. There's several complications. While managing a project, here arises an excellent opportunity for digital technologies to drive the construction process. So you see, there's a lot of different players involved. Hey, there's a lot of these different tools that you need to service different parts of the of just the process of constructing a home, for example, right? There's lots of different stages. How can technology help you manage that? But is there a single unifying thread which maybe is not catching the eye here or as easy to catch? And I've talked about this with Dot. I've talked about this with other work we do in B2B distribution. When you have so much fragmentation, right? That article from the equity research firm saying, hey, look at how fragmented this is. Look at how many different players there are involved. That was just talking about the number of contractors involved on any given job. Now think about sourcing all those products. Think about all the manufacturers that those products are coming from. Think about all the distributors that are involved in coordinating the logistics and sourcing the inventory, which today is extremely difficult and the lead times are insane. There are a couple unifying threads. And you can kind of see a little bit of this on Paradigm's site. They've got this product called automated software testing. And you kind of look at yourself and you're like, oh, whatever. Paradigm Safeguard, it is a catalog testing software. It helps you manage the quality and integrity of your product catalog. Our regression testing identifies all changes associated with your catalog updates, giving you time to address issues before they impact your bottom line. Now, this is really being marketed to manufacturers, but they specifically have a product for manufacturers. And look at this: large-scale regression testing, detailed pricing regression testing, catalog quality regression, right? This product might seem like an afterthought, but to me, this is a sign that they take product data very seriously. You will see them say, our platform allows our clients to use one product catalog for all selling channels, resulting in time and money savings. I think that's the real unlock here with this deal. Yeah, they've got a bunch of different apps. Yeah, they got a contractor sales app. They got ERP software. They got quoting software. Yeah, they got all these different tools. Yeah, they've got tools for all the different members of the supply chain, from manufacturer down to contractor. Well, how do you actually help drive efficiencies? Otherwise, you just make a bunch of interfaces, right? And that gets to the power of data and product data. And you'd be surprised at how challenging it is to get good product data in B2B distribution. But to me, what I smell underneath the covers of this company, now I don't know Paradigm, but what I'm sniffing out here is a product data play. And there's a lot of connectivity, right? How can they connect into all these different programs and systems, right? You read through these products, you can see that they're integrating with a bunch of modern tech tools like the Salesforces of the world. All of that is meaningless unless you have what? Good product data. Because that's the real challenge. Whether you want to quote things accurately, whether you want to let people transact digitally, right? They want to see that product data in that experience. So I feel like that's kind of the potentially, hopefully, if you're spending $450 million here, hopefully that's the golden nugget locked up inside of this company, which maybe they're not speaking to because it's not specifically an offering. It's not a solution, right? But it is the thing that's powering all of these different solutions. It's the thing that's connecting the experiences across all of these different solutions. That would be my hope. I don't know if it exists, but to me, if this deal brings you both a bunch of these, think about them as just like interfaces, right? If you're bringing workflow management tools and quoting tools, and these are software tools, right? The software tools are useless unless you have good product data behind them. So assuming they have both of those things, then I think this acquisition gets very interesting. You don't always have to try to buy both the tool and the product data. What do I mean by that? You are seeing other distributors do deals for the former and not the latter. This company, Beacon, they are skinning this app, and they have this product that they're calling Beacon 3D Plus. But Beacon 3D Plus is actually a similar tool that seems like that's in the suite of, not exactly the same thing, but similar in the suite that Paradigm offers, right? Now they are skinning this. This app is actually made by a company called Hover. Hover has raised $142 million from VCs. When you then think about product data and how does the product data get harmonized, and how much of a core asset is product data to a Beacon versus the tool, right? These are going to be, are never going to be as unified of an experience. Now, you know that Hover is investing a lot in not just the tool, but product data. But how much of that product data is proprietary to Beacon? That's really where Builders has an opportunity to say, well, if we're going to be powering all these digital experiences, then we can plug our catalog, our product catalog, the best into all of these different experiences. And then there will be other benefits back to the core business, which is what they allude to in some of their press releases. What you're seeing elsewhere with some of these distributors is that they actually don't own the tech. They're not actually even investing in the product data expertise, right? They're kind of just taking the skinned version of the tool and then layering that over, and kind of customizing it, white labeling it for their own experience. That experience is never going to be as seamless and tightly integrated with the core business as it would be when you have a controlling acquisition, right? So some of that just goes back to saying how core is technology to a building material and roofing, in this case, distributor. And I think what you're seeing from Builders is, I think you're gonna have a lot of people say, wow, this is actually super important. These guys just spent $450 million on it. Granted, their sales have more than doubled in the past year. And so they've got some means to do that. But that's actually true for a lot of the other building distributors, right? It's not just a unique scenario for Builders FirstSource. How did the markets react to this? Well, the stock's down. You've got one of the analysts saying, we like the tech, but not necessarily the tag. You look at the multiples here and you say, they're paying a 9x revenue multiple compared to Builders FirstSource, which has a 12.7 PE ratio. They've got a $9 billion market cap when they did $4 billion in revenue in one quarter, right? From a valuation standpoint, this is a very different ballgame. It's much more difficult for traditional distributors to justify paying these kinds of multiples, A. B, even more difficult when it's a publicly held company, which Builders FirstSource is. And C, this is a big leap where they didn't get into doing, say, minority investing, right? They didn't get into say, hey, let's do a sub $100 million acquisition. They're doing nearly a $500 million acquisition out of the gate, which might be the right deal on paper. But honestly, the work is now just beginning once the deal closes. And where 95% of these deals fall down is on the integration. That's actually the hardest part. You can put the best deal together. You can negotiate the best terms. You can map out the best strategy. Actually, the hardest part is the integration. How do you get this massive multi-billion dollar building material distributor, which has done a bunch of M&A, but they've never done tech M&A, and integrating, which there needs to be a level of integration. You don't want to do too much integration out of the gate, but there needs to be a level of integration. That's why you're doing the deal, right? There's synergies on both sides. How do you extract those synergies? Understanding that you've got two very different cultures, understanding that, you don't want to stifle too much one side or the other. Very difficult balance to strike. Other interesting note is this is actually not a marketplace play, right? I think this is a software tools, like SaaS tools, with a really good product data play. That's what I think this is. And I think actually in certain industries, you're seeing that the B2B marketplace phenomenon, which we are seeing take root in so many other verticals of B2B distribution, you have historically seen that be a lot slower to get traction in these heavier, much more hyper-localized industries, which could be building materials, could be metal and chemicals. Dave, the CEO of Builders, also comes out of Univar. It's a really interesting play. I do like it on the surface of it. I don't know all the ins and outs of Paradigm, but if it has some of the things that I think it does have, and I'm seeing cues that it might have, then strategically, that makes sense to me. Did they need to go and buy the comprehensive suite, right? They have all the tools and all the product data expertise. I actually don't think you have to. I actually think there's actually a lot of different plays out there. You actually need to own and control all the software that all the contractors, all the manufacturers, all the distributors are interfacing with. The answer is actually no, you don't need to. So I don't know the full strategy of Paradigm. I mean, but I do think there's a number of things that I like with this. Did they have to go spend $450 million? I don't know. No, they didn't have to. I think there's a lot of earlier stage companies that I think are making strong strides with product data for a deal this size. That other players in the industry were able to take a look at this and decide if they wanted to go after this. Maybe they did. Maybe there was a bidding war. I don't know. But I think it's a step in the right direction. Was it the best value? Was it the right price? Were there different options on the table? Absolutely. What doesn't scare me is really the price tag. What scares me is how to integrate a company this size properly, because a lot of change is coming. Does Builders FirstSource have the organizational readiness to properly extract the value out of this acquisition that it has modeled out? That's a real challenge for a very traditional business doing a first big leap into a transaction like this. But I wish them the best. I'm really glad to see distributors, and who you may also call incumbents, take the initiative and try to get out in front of some of this technological change, and using some of that capital to invest in some riskier technology-driven business models. That's a very bright spot of this, and I hope it goes well for them. Hi, I'm Alex. Thanks for watching the show. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, but even better, make sure to follow us on Odyssey, follow us on Rumble, and text us 203-646-5159. Text the word Monopoly. You'll be subscribed. You'll get updates about when we're going live, our latest videos, and we'll send you even a little goodie bag. And in the event that we all get banned from big tech, we'll still be connected.